Just when I think I've done a video on every subject in tapestry weave, somebody gives me another idea. So somebody suggested I do a video on side edge cords, side selvage cords. Good idea. So we're going to talk about that today. Now, many Navajo rugs have a side selvage cord that adds strength and is decorative. Remember, they were used on the floor originally, so this would give them extra strength. Now, make sure you have a few weavings already completed before you do the side edge cord, otherwise it will be a hindrance. Use the same cord as you did for your end twining, and if you did 2 cords for your end twining, do 2 cords for the side selvage. If you did 3 cords, do 3 cords on here as well. So choose the same cord and then tie an overhand knot. Tie that to the bottom of your loom, and because this has comb at the bottom, I'm just going to loop it under the teeth and then give it a little bit of twist. Just a few twists, and then loosely tie it to the top of your loom. Don't tie it tight because you're going to have to undo that to take some of the twist out and add more in the right direction. Now the rule is that the side edge cord follows the outside warp. So if you go under that outside warp, you go under the cord. It doesn't matter whether it's under or over the batten, it follows the outside warp. So let me do a few rows for you. Let's see where I am. Okay, so I want to include that side selvage cord with the outside warp. And I'm going under that cord. I'll go under that side selvage cord. And I'm just going to do a little bit here. I'm not going to go clear across. You would, of course, be going clear across your rug. And, of course, you would not have all this weaving here. Imagine this is just warped, and it doesn't have all that weaving. I just didn't have a loom that was just warped, so I could show you. So this would actually be down here at the bottom. Sometimes you have to use your imagination with my weavings. Okay, so I went under that edge warp. I went under the twining cord. Then I want to change my shed. Oops, should have that included there. Probably need to tighten that up a little bit. Okay. So now I'm going over that outside warp. I want to go out over that outside edge cord. So you're catching that side selvage cord along with that outside warp. So beat that down, change your shed. You know, I used to make an edge cord on, I have this wrong. I used to make an edge cord on all my rugs, my full-size rugs. But when I started doing miniatures, I stopped doing that edge cord because kind of on small side, it was kind of a hindrance rather than help. So again, I'm going under that outside warp. I'm going to go under the edge cord, catching it. So it doesn't matter whether you go under or over that outside warp, the edge cord follows along with it. Now, every so many rows, you're going to twist that outside edge cord and bring the other one forward. It kind of depends on the thickness of your weft, how many rows you need to do before you change the edge cord. If you have bulky yarns like this is, 3 or 4 would be ample. If you have worsted weight, you want to probably do about 5. And sport weight, you probably want to do even more than that. but it's your choice. Just make sure you're consistent. If you start doing 5 before you turn, then make sure you are consistent with that all the way through your rug. So again, now that it's beginning to have a few rows on top of that, you can see how it's including that along with that outside warp. So now that I've done, say, 3 or 4 rows with this bulky yarn, I want to change my edge cord. Now I want to twist it like the beginning and end twining is twisted. So choose your direction. It doesn't matter which. Choose it. Twist it one way or the other, but make sure again you're consistent. So I'm going to twist it that direction. And this new cord is going to be in with the outside warp. And again, remember, you would be starting this at the very beginning, not waiting until you're 3 inches up from the bottom. And again, change your warp. Make sure you got the right edge cord in. And again, I'm just doing a little piece here so you can get an idea of how it's supposed to look. Change your shed. And again, you've got that edge cord along with that outside warp. So it's not hard to do. You just remember to be consistent, and the rule is the edge cord always follows the outside warp. So you can see how this now, the first one went, or the first edge cord went underneath these 3 along with the warp, and then this one will go along with these 3. And then as you keep turning this, or twisting it, then you're bringing the other one forward. Just make sure you're consistent. So you'll have the same twisted edge as you had at the beginning and the end. Now you can only do this edge cord up to about the last 2 inches of your weaving. So when you get up to the last 2 inches, you're going to have to stop, and then you'll use those cords and run it through with a needle, similar to the way you were doing all the way through your weaving. So just remember that the warp thread is the key. If the warp threads are in front of the batten, your side selvage cord should also be in front of the batten. And the side selvage cord is included with the edge warp, no matter what pattern you are using. So when you finish your weaving and take it off the loom, then you have a couple things you need to do. You will be untying these beginning knots that you're entwining and including the side edge cord in those knots, so you'll have a bigger knot. And then at the top, where you couldn't weave that last 2 inches, you need to put those yarns on a needle and run them through just to simulate the same twisted edge. And then again, tie those ends in with the edge cord beginning twining knots, so you have the knots all tied together. So enjoy this technique and try it out, and we will catch you again. Thanks for watching.